Shaitanirajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let's continue. In this class, we'll do Surah Jummah. Surah Jummah, this surah is a Madani surah and it's in Juz 28, surah number 62. It's a short surah. It has only 11 ayahs, 11 verses. So detail of it, the surah was revealed in two stages. The first section was revealed in 7th Hijri on the occasion of conquest of Khyber, and the second section was revealed shortly after Prophet ﷺ hijrah, that is migration to Medina, when he established Jummah congregation prayer, Friday prayer congregation. On the fifth day, he arrived to Medina. So major things will be discussed in this. Allah has appointed Muhammad ﷺ as his Rasul. Allah has rebutted the claim of Jews to be favorite of Allah to the exclusion of others, and commandments relating to the obligation of Jummah prayer, Friday prayer. The first section was revealed after the final defeat of Jewish tribes at the Battle of Khyber. Allah Almighty revealed this last and final address, which was directed towards Jews in the Quran. In this, Jews are reminded of three things. First, did you refuse to believe in Muhammad ﷺ only because he was born among people whom you consider Gentiles, or you were under the false delusion? And the second thing, you were made the bearer of Torah, but you did not undertake your responsibility and discharge it as you should have. And the third thing, if you really consider yourself as Allah's favorite and were sure of having a place of honor and high rank with Him, you would not have feared death. They feared death, and accepted a life of disgrace and subjugation. And in the second section, Allah warned the Muslims not to treat their Friday as the Jews had treated their Sabbath. This section was sent down relating to the incident of trade caravan which arrived in Medina at the time of Friday congregation Jummah. During the service, when people heard the drum and they left Prophet ﷺ mosque and rushed out to the caravan, although Prophet ﷺ was delivering a sermon. Thereupon it was enjoined that when the call for hearing the call, believers should suspend every kind of transaction and hasten to the remembrance of Allah. However, when the prayer is over, they can go back and resume their normal activities like business or job, whatever it may be. So without further delay, we start. Yusabbihu lillahi ma fis samawati wa ma fil ardil malikil quddusil azizil hakim. huwa allazi ba'asa fil ummiyina rasulan minhum yatlu alayhim ayatihi wa yuzakkihim wa yuallimuhumul kitaba wal hikmah wa in kanu min qablu lafi dalalin mubin. Yusabbihu lillahi ma fis samawati. So the surah all begins with Yusabbihu, is Allah's tasbih is mentioned, and they are called Musabbihat. So this surah also starts with the praising of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is called one of the Musabbihat surahs. So here praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Yusabbihu lillahi ma fi samawati wa ma fil ard. Al Malik al Quddus al Aziz al Hakim. Whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on the earth, exalting Allah. It is glorifying Allah. So what are you going to do? So what are you going to do if everything, if the whatever is in front of you, all the things I'm talking about, you don't understand how about this, then even they do tasbih. This surah, they all began with Yusabbihu or Sabbaha, Allah's tasbih is mentioned. And this group of surahs, as I mentioned before, it's Musabbihat, and that everything in the heaven and the earth is exalting Allah, mentioning His perfection because He is the sovereign, pure, exalted in might the wise. So why everything should not exalt and praise Allah? Because Allah is Khalik, Malik and Mudabbir. And Allah is Hayyul Qayyum. And in ayah number 2, it is He who has sent among the unlettered a messenger from themselves, reciting to them His verses and purifying them and teaching them the book and wisdom, although they were before in the clear error. Ayah number 2. So here it was mentioned, it is He who has sent among the unlettered a messenger from themselves, reciting to them His verses and purifying them and teaching them the book and wisdom, although they were before in the clear error. So, what was the purpose for sending the messenger? Here, teaching the book, Yatlu alayhi ayatihim, and it has so much importance in our deen for about teaching. So, let's see that. هو الذي بعث في الأميين. أميين is from أمي, unlettered, and رسولا a rasul minhum, among them, yatlu, as I told you, tilawa, alayhim ayatihi, reciting the ayahs of the Quran. So here, what else is mentioned? Reciting the ayahs of the Quran, وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ, and doing the tazkiyah, purifying, and وَيُعَلِّمُهُمْ, and also it's from ilm, teaching the book. Not only teaching the book, while hikmah, and the wisdom. وَإِنْ كَانُوا مِنْ قَبْلِ لَفِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ, and before they were in manifest error. Prophet ﷺ was sent for this purpose. Which purpose? To teach the book, and this work should continue after Prophet ﷺ as well. Meaning Allah did not just send Quran to people if you want to read it is if you want to leave it. No, He sent the Quran and He sent a messenger to teach people the Quran, to ensure that they learn it, they recite it, they understand it, and they hear it. This is prophetic work. This was the work of Prophet ﷺ. So after him, his work must continue. This work we must give importance to, and we must make it a priority, because without the book of Allah, what are people in? What does this ayah says? Ma in kanu min qablu lafi dalalim mubin. If the book of Allah is missing from the lives of people, then they would be in clear error. If they are not reciting the book, if they are not listening to the book, if they are not learning the book, they are not learning hikmah, if they are not being taught the book Quran, then they would be in manifest error. In ayah number 3, wa akharina, and to others, meaning Prophet ﷺ was not just sent to people of this time, but to others of them who have not yet joined them, means later generation of the Muslims, and he is exalted in might and wise. This is bounty of Allah which He gives to whom He wills, and Allah is the possessor of a great bounty. Meaning, Quran in person's life, what is it that? It's a huge favor of Allah upon a servant, that his life is filled with the book of Allah, that in his life he is attached to the Quran. And number 5, here example has been given. The example of those who were entrusted with the Torah and then did not take it on it like that of a donkey who carries volumes of books. The people of the book who were given the Torah, they were given the scripture. They learned it once, but they did not implement. Now, this book, what is it? It's a burden on them. Just as donkey is carrying a burden of books, what does donkey do? Carrying book. What does he know? Does it benefit from the books? What he's carrying? Not at all, right? Maximum what he can get is that because of that work that he's doing, the work of the transportation, like he'll get some more food, isn't it? That's the thing. Likewise, a person who has been given the book of Allah, but he doesn't give respect to the book of Allah, then such a person will never receive respect either. He will never ever receive respect either, neither in dunya nor in akhirah. So the person who has been given the book, but he's just carrying it as a book, as a burden of book, it's not transforming him, it's not changing the state of his heart, it's not transforming into the action, then it's their efforts are useless. So remember, knowledge is for implementation. It's not for storage. Okay, you are gaining knowledge from here and there and just storing. No, it's not something that needs to be stored in our emails and in our different apps of our phone. No, in bookshelf. No, even in our brains. Yeah, keep it in your brain, but implementation. Knowledge is for amal. It's for action. For action, tazkira is necessary, muzakira is necessary. Because remember that it does not befit a person whom Allah has given knowledge that he waste himself. How is it that a person would waste himself? That he has a book, but he doesn't use it. He has information, but he doesn't use it. He doesn't benefit from it. This is just like a person has been given money, but what does he do with that money? He just keeps it in his wallet. And then what happens? Eventually, he loses the wallet and gone is the money. The money is in the bank. He never ever use it. Gone, useless. What use is that money? It's just a burden. What use is the gold that is sitting in the bank or just sitting in a locker or just in a jewelry box if a person does not wear it? You understand? Something of value will only be valuable when it is used. How is it used? And when a person is using it, then really he is taking benefit from it. If he's not using it, he's wasting it. And by wasting it, he's not wasting anything but himself. Now, how is it that a person can implement his knowledge? Because we are human beings and we keep forgetting. Adam al Islam, he was placed in Jannah and garden and told him very clearly, this is a tree, the fruit of this tree is forbidden. But what happened? Did Adam al Islam did not forget? Yes, he forgot. Even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, Adam, you don't have to eat this fruit. That he has so many options though, but still Shaitan made him forget and he did the mistake. Remember, once you know Shaitan is more and more after you. This is why when you read Quran, what do? A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. So what is that a person needs to do to ensure his knowledge does not just become a burden? That we don't just become like donkeys carrying certificates, carrying books that are filled with notes. We don't want to be like people who have lot of knowledge, but knowledge is useless to them because this is the worst example. Allah says, "Bi'sal masalul qawmul lazina kazzabu bi ayatillahi." Wretched is the example of people who deny the signs of Allah. What a terrible example this is. Wretched is example of people who deny the signs of Allah. So we don't want to be of them. What should we do then? There are several things that we have to do. First of all, you know, revise yourself. Whatever you learned till now, just go through that again. Whether you did hifz, whether you done tafsir, you did word to word, or small surah, big surahs, hadith, whatever it may be, just repeat it. Repetition is good. And whoever says, "Oh, I know, I heard it, I already knew," it means that's it. Yeah, that's the end. Always keep the door open for knowledge. Learn, and implementation. Muzakira, that a person mentioned it also, he talks about it. With who meaning of the course, with what you are learning and spreading the khair and implementing it. And we learn in Surah Al-Baqarah, مَقُولُ لِلنَّاسِ husna. Like we have to spread the good. speak good. So speak good, it can be in a beneficial manner. Wallahu la yahdil qawmuz zalimin. Allah does not guide the wrongdoing people. Those who do zulm. What is the zulm over here? Zulm against the book of Allah, against Kitabullah. The book of Allah is meant to be read and studied and understood and implement. And those who don't give the haqq of the book, then such people are zalim and Allah will not guide them, no matter how information they are carrying on their backs. Ayah number 6 say, O who are Jews, if you claim that you are allies of Allah, excluding the other people, meaning paradise is only for you, if they are thinking so, then wish for death, if you should be truthful. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, if you think you are the allies of Allah, and then wish for death, if you are truthful. And just like many Muslims think that doesn't matter what we do, Jannah is for us, isn't it? Most of us we think that way. We don't need to read Quran. We don't need to really look at the actions. Jannah is guaranteed for us, isn't it? No, we are in delusion. Well, then why don't you ask for death? Why you are so greedy for life? Allah says that. I'm not saying this is the words of the Quran, but they will not wish for it ever because what their hands have put for. And Allah is knowing of the wrongdoers. When a person is doing something, He knows, even if he doesn't say, even if he doesn't verbally acknowledge. Ayah number 8 say, indeed, the death from which you flee, indeed, it will meet you. Then you will be returned to the knower of the unseen and the witnessed, and he will inform you about what you used to do. You see, death is reality, something that nobody can escape, isn't it? We don't like to remember death. Why? So that we can continue having fun, because thinking about death, imagining death, picturing death, it is something that kills pleasure. And Prophet ﷺ said, remember death which destroys the pleasures. But the fact is that just ignoring death, not talking or not thinking about it, just, does it change the reality? Death is coming anyways. Allah says it's going to meet you. And the thing is that the greater issue, the bigger issue, that death does not terminate. It will come. It means the beginning of eternal life. So how is it that a person can neglect death? It is something so serious. Because after we die, eternity begins. And we will be repaid, recompensed for what we have been doing. So, how can a person neglect death? Remember death every day, because the angel of death knows when we have to go back. When our time comes, angel of death comes. Ayah number 9. O you who have believed, when the azan is called for the prayer on the day of Jummah, Friday, then proceed to the remembrance of Allah and leave trade. This is specifically for men, because on men Jummah is wajib, mandatory. That when you hear the azan, then what is that you have to do? Stop, drop everything, go to masjid, stop what you're doing. And before, when you join a job or school anywhere, you have to tell them before, okay, this is the Friday. On Friday my schedule will be different, and I have to excuse from this time to this time, so that you can attend the Jummah, and then you can go back. Even the high school kids, especially I'm talking about boys, you can take special permission, they will give you. And same thing for the college and everywhere. So leave what you're doing, drop what is in your hand, everything, leave it. Wazarul bay, stop it immediately and go to masjid. Proceed to the remembrance of Allah. And what is the remembrance of Allah? It is just the 2 rakah of Jummah. The remembrance of Allah, this includes the khutbah before the salah, also the 2 rakah sunnah, like 2 rakah tahiyya. And also, if you go early, you can do more sunnah. But deliberately don't listening khutbah, deliberately leaving two rakah because there is a difference of opinion. There's an authentic narration. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned before sitting for the Friday sermon, even though it's going on, you have to do two rakah and then sit. This is better for you if you only know. Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, whoever takes a bath on Friday, bath completely, meaning properly, and goes early and walks and does not ride to the mosque, because Alhamdulillah, if you park your car a little bit far, you can at least walk sometimes, right? But we don't prefer to, we want to park in the front. Why? We are young, we can walk. When you will be 60, 70, what you will do that time? Now we all are young. Come on, we can park our car far and then we can go. And that way we can implement a sunnah. So who walks to the masjid, right, sit close to the imam and listen to him and does not engage in idle talk, then for every step he takes or she takes, he will have the reward of 1 year fasting and praying at night. Can you imagine? It's easy if you start implementing this sunnah, and especially taking bath on Friday and going there and sitting and listening to the Friday sermon. And remember the longer hadith, which says the person who comes to masjid like in the time or before the time, and angel they write it. You get the reward for cow, camel, cow, then ram, then after that chicken, then least was the egg. And after that, they sit down and they listen to the khutbah. So we have to go early. So here, do not engage in anything loud, like, not listening and playing with something and looking the phone or something. Don't do that, because if you do that, you won't be forgiven. From one Friday to another, you will be forgiven if you keep silent and listen to Friday sermon. Then only it is forgiven. And also, there's a hadith, Prophet ﷺ said, the days were shown to me, among them Friday was shown to me, meaning in some tangible form. It looked like a white mare in the middle of which is a black spot. So I asked, what is that? It was said that the hour, meaning the day of judgment, is also going to occur when? On Friday. Those who give importance to Friday, Prophet ﷺ said, on the day of judgment, Allah will bring the days of week in certain forms, meaning in some tangible form, because deeds will also take some physical form on the day of judgment. So even the days of the weeks will come in a certain form. And He will bring the day of Friday in a beautiful, radiant, and shining form. And the people of Friday, the people who celebrate Friday, meaning who give importance to Friday. What is it that we need to give importance to Friday? Salatul Jummah. They will surround it like a bride is surrounded when taken to her groom. Just picture that scene in your head in a wedding, that girl's family is coming along with her bride, and generally with the girl there's those flowers, bridesmaid, right? So just imagine how a woman is honored with the whole escort, and like that people will surround Juma. It will be enlight the way for them. So it will be a source of nur for them. Because remember, on the day of judgment on Sirat, there will be darkness. Below is fire, above it's darkness, and the bridge is thinner than a hair, sharper than a sword, very slippery. On its sides, there are hooks, and this is real. Every person has to cross the bridge. So imagine they will have light, light of Juma. They will walk in its light. These colors like white snow, their fragrance like musk, as if they were in mountains of Kafur. Men and jinn will look at them, not turning away of amazement. Meaning, people will be just staring at people of Juma, not even looking away out of amazement until they will enter Jannah. They will be like this until they enter Jannah. Yani Ahlul Jummah, it's the people of Jummah. So if we want, we can also be among them. But generally what happens for women, because we have a choice, we take advantage of that choice, and when it's difficult for us to go for Jummah, we don't go. But men, they don't really have a choice, do they? They have to leave their work, they have to use their time, like especially break time, and they go for Jummah. They have to take excuse before when they sign up for the job. And this is a hadith, authentic hadith from a silsilatul sahih. Like, for men, it's mandatory. If they leave 3 consecutive Friday, a black dot on their heart. So remember that. We don't want that, isn't it? And also our young boys, we have to make a habit. They have to go to Jummah. Take excuse from schools also. Let's move to ayah number 10. So here in ayah number 10, it's a small surah. So here in ayah number 10, and when the prayer has been concluded, disperse within the land and seek from the bounty of Allah and remember Allah often that you may succeed. So how is success achieved? Salah, and after Salah, seeking fazl of Allah with excellence and abundance zikr. It's not like you came for Jummah, you pray, and after going back, you miss the other salahs and you don't even remember azkar. No, still you have to, even though you're going back to work, you're doing household chores, still you will continue to remember Allah. But when they saw a transaction or a diversion, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they rushed to it and left you standing. Say, what is it with Allah is better than diversion than a transaction, and Allah is the best of the providers. Over here, the indication is to the time when Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was once giving khutbatul Jummah, and the Sahaba were listening to khutbah. And at the same time, a caravan arrived in Medina. At the caravan, what does it mean? They, it has goods and food and grocery. So they went out. It was arrived in Medina, and lot of noise, and people got attracted, and there was a big noise. So they went out. It was just Khutbah Friday sermon was going on, and many people they left, they went out. So one by one they kept going out until only 12 people remained in the masjid. And it was mentioned, and 7 women, 12 men, and 12 men, 7 women, barely 20 people. They stayed, and the rest of the people they all left. They were human being after all, isn't it? Sahaba also. Don't we, we can't even like able to believe such kind of things, because Sahaba for us, mm, like they never do any mistakes kind of thing. But it, as I told you, they are normal human being, and they left, and Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam got very upset, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, thank God they were few left, otherwise Allah might have sent some calamity on them. And that was disrespecting to Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and that wasn't right. However, once you have started your prayer, then you can attend, here we are talking about etiquettes. So you have to remember, when khutbah is going on, you have to attend, and then attend the prayer. And after prayer is done, whatever the thing you want to do, you can go ahead and do, but not before. You have to listen khutbah, you have to do your fard prayer, and after that, you are good to go. You can do more nawafil, or you can go home, or you can do at work, your wish. That was the Surah Jummah. Inshallah, we'll continue. Jazakallah khair. Here we end Surah Al Jummah. Jazakallah khairan kaseer.